Made money off your clothes? Complain when you can make $4,000 a month. As a stay-at-home mom, I've been putting up with my husband and mother-in-law's atrocious attitude for too long. But this? No way I could let this slide. Fine, let's revisit this in a month. Fuming, I stormed out of my in-laws' home. Then I made a phone call to a special number. A month later, just remembering the look on my husband's face makes me burst into laughter. My name is Emma. I'm a freelance fashion designer. I used to work for a corporate design firm, but I've gone solo. The fashion industry is fiercely competitive, and freelancing has been tougher than I thought. With more freedom comes a higher chance of failing, and I often get yelled at for not meeting clients' expectations. Still, I loved my job, and that made it all worthwhile. My stubborn nature probably played a role in my success. I took setbacks in stride and fully devoted myself to my work. I still remember that time vividly. I studied hard, got my color coordinator license, and brushed up my social media skills. I wanted to cry at times, and I did. But I persevered. Still, with the support of people who encouraged me, I desperately worked hard. I kept pushing myself, pushing and pushing. As a result, now I can earn a decent income from this profession. I was enjoying life as a fashion designer, but recently something started to bother me. And that was, don't you think it's about time to settle down with someone nice? Absolutely. I've always been a career-first person. Before I knew it, I was already in my early 30s. Work was so fulfilling that I barely noticed time passing. But yes, life's milestones were approaching. Marriage isn't a big deal. I used to laugh it off like that at first. But as I watched my friends, one by one, tie the knot, that's how I ended up marrying Noah, a guy I met at work. Noah is in the apparel business, a go-getter, and a real stand-up guy. It's probably thanks to his personality that things went smoothly all the way to the altar. So, Noah, about future work plans.
Don't worry. You can take the lead on home stuff.
So we decided I'd step back from my designer career for a bit. It's the division of labor thing, you know? That's why I've been really going all in on being a homemaker. As for going back to design work, I was thinking of picking it back up once things settled down a bit at home. Anyway, that was the new chapter in my life. I was living each day filled with dreams and hopes. Then, one day, Noah's dad passed away. His father had been battling cancer for a while, so it was just a matter of time. Still, his mom, Olivia, is really struggling with the loss of her long-term partner.
Mom's really taking it hard.
If she collapsed from the grief, it would be unbearable. So we decided to temporarily move into my in-laws' home. Luckily, their home is spacious, with a separate guest house. We would live there and take care of Olivia, who was in the main house.
Mom, if you need anything, don't hesitate to call on us.
Olivia, lunch is ready. So I took on the chores in the main house too, and kept Olivia company. Our dedication seemed to be helping. She was getting better day by day. I thought she'll be okay on her own soon. I was relieved and thinking of resuming my design work. But then, Emma, have you finished cleaning the main house yet? My mother-in-law just never seemed to pick up her share of the housework. Instead, she'd dump it all on me and go about her lazy days. And she never missed a chance to complain. The food is bland. You don't do laundry properly. She'd nag over and over. At first, I reluctantly went along with her. But this felt like servitude, and I couldn't stand it any longer. I have my own work to do. I explained to her that I was busy with my design work, and asked her to handle the house chores for the main house. But then, you're busy. All you're doing is sitting in your room trolling. She wouldn't hear of it. To her, my work on the computer or social media seemed like playtime. I tried to explain further, but don't think you can fool me with those big words. My, aren't you cunning? She dismissed me with a wave of her hand. If I pushed any harder, she'd just shout, calling me a domineering wife. So there was nothing I could do but back off. Now what should I do? I talked to my husband about his mom, but he didn't seem to take it seriously. It seems he's also having a hard time at work. He sighs all the time, whether we're eating or bathing. Of course, as his wife, I tried to offer a listening ear. Sometimes venting can be a relief. However, Noah didn't open up to me about the details.
Don't worry, I'll figure out the work situation on my end.
Certainly it must be a matter of pride for Noah. I was left to manage the difficult life with my mother-in-law without any help from my husband. Then one day, Noah comes home with a particularly dark expression. Turns out he'd made a big mistake at work and lost an opportunity for a promotion. Mistakes happen at work. Don't beat yourself up over it. I thought I was giving him a normal pep talk, but it backfired with Noah, who has quite the ego.
What would a homemaker like you know?
My husband said, clearly irritated. Then my mother-in-law jumped on the bandwagon, blaming me as well. Don't you think Noah's failure is because you're not supportive enough at home? At their remarks, I'm momentarily stunned. No, this is definitely strange. Stunned by their accusations, I naturally fought back. But my words fell on deaf ears. It was decided then and there, I was the bad guy. From that day on, I was treated noticeably colder by both my husband and mother-in-law. Emma, can you hurry up with dinner? Emma, you were supposed to take care of the garden, remember? Emma, go buy some flowers for the living room. My mother-in-law became even more demanding, bossing me around. No matter how flawlessly I took care of the household chores, she'd always find something to complain about. Emma, you're sloppy with the cutting and the seasoning. It's too strong. Emma, I don't like how the garden looks. Redo it, please. Emma, these are lilies. I wanted gerberas. At this point, all I could do was sigh. I just wish someone would acknowledge my hard work. I tried talking to Noah again, but all he did was defend his mother.
She's old, and she's relying on you. Besides, you have plenty of time, don't you? You're not working after all.
Noah still seemed resentful. I knew he had a big ego, but I didn't expect him to be this petty. And so, drained and weary, I soldiered on alone in my in-laws' home. Then one day something happened that I simply couldn't tolerate any longer. That day, I had to go into town for some errands. After wrapping things up, I returned home. But the moment I opened my closet, I was shocked. What? Where are my clothes? Yes, almost all my clothes were missing. I rushed to the main house to confront my mother-in-law, who was leisurely sipping her coffee. Oh, I sold your clothes. My mother-in-law casually admitted her deed. She said she sold them to a resale shop to help with the family finances. I was furious, more than furious. Those weren't just fashionable clothes. They were designs I had worked hard on, bringing them to life through my labor. Some were even from the early days of my career. Seriously, who sells someone else's stuff without asking? I couldn't believe it. I let loose on her with all my feelings. But who needs fancy clothes when they're unemployed? There was zero remorse from her. And my husband, who had come running after hearing the commotion, was no help either.
If you have complaints, try earning $4,000 a month.
With that, Noah and my mother-in-law both mocked me. I responded, trying my best to stay calm. Fine, check back in a month. Both were stunned by my unexpected answer. Ignoring them, I got ready and left my in-laws' house. I plan to live in a hotel for a while. The room is small, but it feels much more spacious than my in-laws' home. This must be what freedom feels like. I lay on the bed and casually checked my phone. Several calls and messages from my husband and mother-in-law. Of course, I ignored all of them. Ugh, what a day. I tossed my phone on the bed with an exasperated look, but after a few seconds, I had second thoughts and picked it back up. I dialed a number. A month had passed since then. Right now, there's a big fashion show happening at the city's event hall, It's a collaborative effort between renowned fashion designers and popular models, and not just open to the public. Various industry insiders are also in attendance. I'm participating as a fledgling designer myself.
Emma, long time no see.
Emma, thank you for your help the other time.
Emma, you look well. That's great to hear.
Since many people from this field are gathered, I see a lot of familiar faces. I make my rounds and engage in lively conversation with people I've worked with before. Aiden, long time no see. Amelia, I should be thanking you for your help last time. Lucas, you're looking well too. Is Sophia in elementary school now? What a pleasant time this is. There was no shortage of interesting topics, including recent trends and industry developments. But then, someone rudely pats my shoulder.
Ah, you're here too.
I turn around and see my husband.
So, have you come to your senses yet? You're stubborn, you know. At least respond. How about admitting defeat and coming home?
Noah hasn't changed. Those were his words to his wife he hasn't seen in a month. I was so dumbfounded, I couldn't even find the words. I was brushing Noah off when a man rushes over to us.
Do you two know each other? Director Henry.
Director Henry is one of the higher-ups at the apparel company where Noah works.
Yes, she's actually, embarrassingly enough, my wife. She's so uppity. Even though she's unemployed, it's really becoming a problem.
With those words, Noah snickers. At that moment, Henry turns red and shoots Noah a glare.
Emma, I apologize for my employee's inexcusable behavior.
Henry, it's all right. Noah is watching our exchange, mouth agape. The truth is, Henry and I are acquainted. I had collaborated with my husband's company during my freelancing days, and Henry was the one managing the project. And now my husband is about to learn another shocking fact from Director Henry.
Emma is a renowned fashion designer. Don't you even know that about your own wife? What?
Noah looks at me with astonishment. Yes, I used to be a well-known designer in the industry, not to brag, but I was pretty popular on social media before I got married. Back then, I was pulling in tens of thousands of dollars a month, including ad revenue from social media. I kept that a secret from Noah. There never seemed to be a good time to tell him, and I didn't want to be valued just for my financial worth, so he probably thought I was just a mediocre independent designer. Sure enough, Noah starts to make a scene after learning about my background.
I didn't know this about you.
Well, I never told you. I had recently resumed my design activities, thanks in part to our recent argument. I contributed several designs to this event. I had been approached for collaboration before. The day my clothes were thrown away, I was meeting Matthew, my former boss, during my corporate design days. Apparently, one of their designers had fallen ill. That's when Matthew urgently asked me to take over as the lead designer for the fashion show. I had been hesitant since I had paused my design career. There was also the matter of issues at my in-laws' home. But then, the big moment came. I called Matthew from the hotel to say I was on board and ready to go.
You, being just a homemaker and unemployed.
I could hear Noah's pride crumbling. I retorted with as much sarcasm as I could muster. So, we're good at $40,000 a month, right? Soon after, I divorced Noah.
Emma, I messed up. Let's try again.
You're the worst kind of woman for leaving your husband. Heartless, cowardly. Noah pleaded while my mother-in-law cursed me out. I dismissed them both. Come talk to me when you're making $40,000 a month. Since then, I haven't seen Noah and his clan. From what I hear, Noah got demoted to a smaller department. He must have irked the higher-ups in the company. According to Mr. Jones, even previous work mistakes were due to conflicts with colleagues. Judging as lacking any remorse, he's been completely written off. They're still living in that house, as they seem far from happy. I passed by their home once. It had a defeated aura. Well, they had it coming. As for me, I was recently in the spotlight again at a fashion show. My career as a designer is thriving. And life is busy but fun. By the way, things are going well between me and my former boss, Matthew. Matthew is a great guy who massively supported me when I struck out on my own. I trust him as a partner. I should have honed not just my design sense, but also my man-picking skills. I chuckled at the thought as I focused on my work.